In the beginning, there was a garden. It was a place called Eden, filled with life and beauty. God himself walked there in the cool of the day. He created the first man, Adam, and the first woman, Eve. They were his children, and he gave them everything they could ever need. The sun was always gentle. The rivers flowed with clear water. The animals were their friends. Life was simple. Life was perfect. Adam and Eve had only one rule to follow. It was a small rule in a huge, wonderful world. They lived in complete peace, without a single worry to cloud their hearts or a single tear to stain their cheeks. They walked with God. Can you imagine that? They heard his voice and felt his presence all around them. Their hearts were pure, and they knew no shame, no fear, and no sadness. The Garden of Eden was more than just a place. It was a state of perfect connection with their Creator. Every day was a gift, a shared moment between God and his beloved children. He provided for them, talked with them, and delighted in them. Their relationship was one of complete trust and innocence. They were surrounded by evidence of his love. From the sweetest fruits on the trees to the softest grass under their feet, it was a life of unending joy. In the center of this magnificent garden, God placed two special trees. One was the tree of life, the other was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God gave Adam and Eve freedom to enjoy everything in the garden. He said, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden," but he gave them one instruction, a single boundary to protect their innocence. It was a simple caution, a loving warning meant to keep them safe in his care. He wanted them to trust his goodness, to believe that he knew what was best for them. He wasn't trying to hold something back from them. He was trying to preserve their perfect peace. God told them not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He warned them that if they did, they would surely die. This wasn't a threat, but a statement of fact, a loving father explaining a danger to his children. Think of a parent telling a child not to touch a hot stove. The warning comes from a place of deep love and a desire to protect. God wanted Adam and Eve to continue living in the light of his presence, untroubled by the darkness of evil. He gave them a choice because love requires freedom. He hoped they would choose to trust him, to remain in the safety of his perfect will. One day a serpent came to Eve. This serpent was clever and full of lies. He twisted God's words. He asked Eve, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" He planted a seed of doubt in her heart. He made God's loving rule seem unfair and restrictive. The serpent made Eve question God's goodness. He suggested that God was hiding something wonderful from them. He whispered that God didn't want them to be wise like him. This was the first lie, a poison that began to spread, making what was good seem bad and what was bad seem good. Eve listened to the serpent's deceptive words. She looked at the forbidden tree. The fruit looked delicious. It seemed like it would be good for food and pleasing to the eye. The serpent promised her that it would make her wise. The temptation was strong. She forgot about all the other wonderful trees God had given her. She focused only on the one thing she couldn't have. Doubt had clouded her heart, and she began to believe the lie. She reached out her hand, picked the fruit, and took a bite. The choice was made. In that moment, she chose her own understanding over God's loving guidance. After Eve ate the fruit, she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it too. As soon as they did, their eyes were opened, but they did not find the wonderful wisdom the serpent had promised. Instead, they found something new and terrible. They felt shame. They realized they were naked and tried to cover themselves with leaves. The beautiful innocence they once knew was gone, shattered in an instant. Fear entered their hearts for the very first time. The world that had once felt so safe and welcoming now seemed like a place to hide. Their perfect connection with God was broken. When God came walking in the garden that evening, they did not run to greet him. They hid. They were afraid of the one who had only ever shown them love. God called out to them, "Where are you?" He already knew where they were, of course. He knew what they had done, but he gave them a chance to confess, to come to him. His heart was not filled with anger, but with sorrow. He was a father searching for his lost children. The sweet fellowship they had shared was now replaced by fear and distance. The simple, perfect world they had known was now complicated and broken. God's heart ached for Adam and Eve. He saw their fear and their shame. Their choice had consequences, and he had to address their disobedience. He told them that life would now be difficult. The ground would be hard to work. There would be pain and struggle, and ultimately their bodies would return to the dust from which they were made. This was the sad result of turning away from God, the source of all life. But even in this moment of judgment, God's love was present. He was not just punishing them, he was setting a new path for them, a path that could, one day, lead back to him. Then, God did something that might seem harsh at first glance. He sent them out of the Garden of Eden. He banished them from their perfect home. Why would a loving God do this? It was an act of profound, forward-thinking love. In the garden, there was still another tree, the tree of life. If Adam and Eve in their new broken state had eaten from that tree, they would have been trapped. They would have lived forever, but in their state of sin and separation from God. Imagine an eternity of shame, fear, and sadness, with no hope of healing. It would have been a terrible, unending existence. God's decision to remove them was a rescue mission. He was protecting them from a permanent state of brokenness. By blocking their path to the tree of life, he was preserving the possibility of a future cure. He was essentially saying, not like this. You will not be stuck in this pain forever. This act, which felt like a punishment, was actually an incredible act of mercy. It was God, the loving Father, making a hard choice to ensure his children could one day be redeemed. He was closing one door to open another, far down the road, a door of grace and forgiveness that would change everything. He was not abandoning them. Before he sent them out, God himself made them clothes of animal skin to cover their shame. This was the first sacrifice, a foreshadowing of a future plan. He was already showing them that a price would have to be paid for sin, but that he would be the one to provide the covering. Sending them out of Eden was not the end of their story. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a long and difficult one, but one that was filled with the promise of redemption. God had a plan to mend what was broken, to heal what was hurt, and to one day bring his children back home. Sometimes in our own lives, God moves us out of situations that feel comfortable. A door closes, a path changes. We might lose a job, a relationship might end, or we might have to leave a place we love. In those moments, it can feel like we are being banished. We might feel confused, hurt, and abandoned. We look at our Eden, the place where we felt safe and happy, and we wonder why God would take it away. We can't see the bigger picture. We only see the gate closing behind us and the difficult road ahead. We might question God's goodness just as the serpent tempted Eve to do. But the story of Adam and Eve teaches us a powerful lesson. God's actions are always rooted in love, even when they are painful and hard to understand. He sees the whole story, from beginning to end. He knows about the tree of life in our situation, the thing that could lock us into a state of brokenness if we were to cling to it. Perhaps that job was stunting our growth. Perhaps that relationship was preventing us from becoming the person he created us to be. His no is often a protection. His closed door is often a redirection towards something far better, something that leads to true healing and life. Trusting God means believing that he is a good gardener. He knows when to prune, when to replant, and when to lead us to a different part of the garden altogether. It requires faith to believe that the pain of being moved is for our ultimate good. God did not leave Adam and Eve without hope, and he does not leave us without hope either. He walks with us on the difficult road. He provides for us, just as he provided clothes for them. He has a plan for our redemption, a plan that was ultimately fulfilled in Jesus Christ, who came to heal our brokenness and lead us back to the Father. So when you find yourself standing outside a closed gate, take a deep breath. Remember that God is not punishing you. He is protecting you. He is not abandoning you. He is leading you. The road ahead may seem uncertain, but he is already there. He is making a way for you, a way toward healing, restoration, and a joy that is even greater than the one you left behind. Trust his heart even when you cannot see his hand. He is the God of new beginnings, and his love is always working for your eternal good. He is leading you home.